Good afternoon. Looks like we are winding down here a little bit, but I appreciate everybody's patience as the day comes to an end here. What I'm going to be talking about today is giving you a little bit of insight into where we're going from a strategic standpoint. And this is really focused around establishing a platform strategy for cell and gene therapy supply chain. Before we dig into that, I just want to give you a quick overview on Cryoport as an organizational asset itself. So Cryoport Inc. is a unparalleled supply chain solutions company, really focused on the life sciences itself. And so we've really been focused on developing best-in-class solutions for supply chain needs, including drug product distribution, storage, distribution, fulfillment-related considerations, and we consist with 4 different entities within this organization. Cryoport Systems, which is the historical entity; CryoPDP, which is a 3PL-related organization from a distribution standpoint; MVE Biological Solutions, which produces large-scale equipment, aluminum and stainless steel cryogenic equipment; and then Cryogene, which is a biostorage asset itself. And our whole focus is around de-risking the supply chain through best-in-class products and services in this space. We've been very active in this space in developing out a unified global network. You can see here the reach and the breadth of the organization itself. You can get a fundamental understanding, based on what you're seeing here as to, what our strategy is to support the space. And one of the key elements here is around scalability from a physical asset standpoint to support obviously the key volume demands over time. And why are we moving in this direction? So the reason that we're moving in this direction is really to support the volume that we see, based on the extensive portfolio programs that we support. As of last count, we're at 626 clinical programs and 9 commercial programs in the space itself. And based on our data, it's we're seeing substantial ramp that's coming specifically, and we are really working to stay ahead of the curve as it relates to being able to support the supply chain considerations for the space, ahead of the volume curve that's looking as it starts to come through here. So you can see on this particular slide, the opportunity is as high as 96 commercial programs by 2027, with a low end of 56 based on our modeling. And a substantial volume of, an increase in order of magnitude on patients treated from that perspective as well. And this ties into the number of commercial products that are in the pipeline, either through additional approvals, geographic expansion, movement to earlier lines of therapy. This is what's supporting that particular volumetric consideration. And our own data itself is, based on the portfolio relationships that we have, is actually extremely robust from that perspective as well. We get a unique perspective on looking at what those volumes, are purported to be looking like in the future based on the relationships that we have. And, based on forecasting, we see as many as 1.26 million patients by the end of 2025 from a potential support standpoint a year, which is a substantial ramp. Now, this is a multiple order of magnitude increase over what the industry is supporting today. So from a supply chain standpoint, the infrastructure requirements associated with this are massive. And so, you can see that we're really progressively addressing this by building out substantial infrastructure across the globe, as well as expanding into a platform basis from a product-specific basis. And what we're really looking at is scalability considerations outside of the manufacturing space. And this includes donor-based and autologous, starting material availability, critical raw material management, obviously our historical temperature-controlled equipment management piece, as well as fulfillment-related activities. And all of these have their own independent considerations as it relates to scale, and are impediments to being able to support, a multi-million patient volume in the space. And so we're progressively looking and working through each of these areas on a consistent basis as it relates to our supply chain strategy and being able to support our clients in these endeavors. So if we move and talk a little bit about this platform development strategy. So what we're really doing is we're really looking at moving from a holistic approach, from an independent product focus. Obviously historically we've been focused around product distribution using specific equipment associated with cryogenic distribution. We're really moving into a platform basis. So full integration across the spectrum, across these service areas that we're talking about, really trying to increase efficiencies associated with supply chain management by that integration itself, and also concurrently de-risking supply chain considerations for our clients and their critical materials. And so that's what we're really focusing on. So how are we doing that? We're really driving around globalization of the network itself. You can see the asset development that we've had across the Americas, Europe, and APAC over the last couple of years. We're evolving the infrastructure itself as well. So, moving from strictly, distribution-related considerations into what we call our high-throughput advanced therapy centers, which includes not only distribution-related consideration, but full storage, kitting, fulfillment, secondary labeling, and now moving upstream into collection and cryoprocessing-related considerations as well. And we're driving innovation across the spectrum here through automation on process-related considerations for supply chain consideration. So this is looking at automation, supply chain density considerations. From a projection standpoint, supporting 1 million plus therapies a year is about 500,000 square foot of space just to hold cryogenic shippers. It's a significant consideration. So automation to support not only the physical warehousing of that equipment, but also the fulfillment and support of that is a critical consideration. And then product and service integration accessibility while maintaining a substantial customer service and customer-focused offering to ensure that we're able to very, very quickly and nimbly respond to any considerations in the field. So we're focused on 6 primary areas. I'm going to focus in on one area a little bit in a couple of minutes, but this includes shipping systems, looking at smart technology and next generation technology. And so that's an area we've been very heavily involved in, and we'll have some new products rolling out next year on that. Data services, so intelligent data management in the field through next generation data loggers, which will be bi-directional, reprogrammable, and introduce things like security considerations, as well as significant data redundancies. Accessories and standardization of accessories to manage the physical packaging itself. Transportation, so including things like purpose-built surface fleet for LSP considerations, local pickup and delivery, cost of goods optimization around consolidation of some of these services. For example, collection and processing, so you're not using white glove transport across country overnight and using, which could be a considerable cost associated with things like that. And integrating bioservices as well, as I'd mentioned, the collection and processing considerations. And doing this, enabling a fully standardized platform. And so all of these services will be in a network of facilities that have complete complementarity from a quality system standpoint, from a protocol management standpoint, from a training regimen, et cetera. So just an example of some of the technology as we're really focused on next generation. So this is our cryosphere, which we've been in development with for the last 4 years. This is now in production, and we'll be rolling out early next year. It is a gravitationally stabilized cryo shipper, which means it can be put on an aircraft in any orientation. It has no impact on hold time, for example. It has substantial ergonomic benefits built in with integrated wheels and handle, for example, next generation technology around data management as well as security. And this is something is just one example from an evolutionary standpoint. It is also fully stackable. And so from a density and warehousing consideration, and if you've ever been in a biomanufacturing center, having 100 cryo shippers that are mushrooms sitting around takes up a tremendous amount of floor space. So being able to stack these provides a substantial amount of consideration around space optimization, for example. So we're really trying to support the continuum around the supply chain piece here, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I really want to kind of skip ahead to consideration, which is going to be these third generation centers. So we're really building for scalability here. Our historical second generation centers support between 20 and 30,000 patient doses a year. These new facilities will be able to scale to support 1 to 200,000 patient doses a year. And they'll include a much broader range of consideration around support mechanism and services associated with that. And so as we're looking at this, we're now being able to much more effectively support the overall supply chain continuum, from a collection to storage to fulfillment to transportation, that whole spectrum on a drug product management basis for our clients. So one of the areas in conjunction with all of the work that we've done historically is we've seen apheresis standardization as a critical consideration. And I think everybody knows that we just recently announced a strategic partnership with the BioLife Plasma Solutions Group of Takeda, where we're going to be transitioning a substantial number of their facilities over the next couple of years to be able to do outpatient apheresis collection in conjunction with our cryoprocessing competencies through the Cell Matters group that we just purchased. And this will be the first true, fully standardized platform, so that all of the facilities will have the same quality system, infrastructure, processes, that, regardless of whether you're collecting material in Seattle or Houston or New York or Boston or anywhere else. And so it does provide that first true opportunity from a standardization basis. It'll be, there'll be uniform quality processes associated with that, and we think it'll provide a much higher level of uniformity as it relates to starting material procurement and management itself. And this will combine with our Cell Matters group, and so let me just pass through this since we're running out of time here a little bit. And so the collection, cryopreservation, storage, and distribution piece, that'll be fully standardized, and we'll be able to tie that under one formalized contract, one formalized quality system. From an auditing standpoint, we think this will provide substantial efficiencies. You're not going to have to go in and audit each and every individual site that you're bringing online from a source basis from that perspective. We're targeting 10 sites in the U.S. from a processing standpoint, which will then support those 80 or so BioLife facilities that are going to be transitioned over that time on a hub and spoke model itself. And that'll then also expand out in Europe as well. The first two sites that are coming online in the U.S. are in New Jersey and in Houston, and we also have a site in Liège, Belgium, which will then be augmented by facilities in Paris and Stevenage, UK over the next couple of years. And then ultimately what we're looking at doing is obviously integrating that entire process. And so from a collection of fresh leukapheresis, direct driven using our own surface fleet into our cryoprocessing centers within a direct 5-hour direct drive. So we'll have material from patient into processing in 6 or 7 hours at the most. And that material then either can be stored or distributed on a cryogenic format out to the end user itself. Oh, something disappeared here, I apologize. You can't see what it looks like here, they must have deleted something. But this is the network of facilities and locations. You can't see the US side for some reason, it disappeared. Oh, it's showing up there, it's not showing on my screen. You can kind of see the distribution network that we're looking at. What we're targeting is to be able to cover 80% of the US population within a 5-hour direct drive, the same thing with Western Europe itself under this model. And so from an advantage standpoint, just to wrap up here, what we really think this does is, number one, it rapidly expands patient access. And so one of the other surrogate benefits here is pushing out into the community care setting through these facilities. It'll radically increase the addressable patient population on a fully standardized platform itself. It allows us to really optimize the transportation scheme associated with cell and gene therapy. We eliminate a lot of the white glove transit as it relates to fresh material movements across country. It allows us to standardize processing related considerations, improve starting material quality, integrate it into the distribution considerations that we've historically supported, as well as being able to tie that into drug product management, storage, fulfillment, labeling considerations, which will obviously provide substantial benefits associated with cost and efficiencies over time. So I know I went fast, had a lot of stuff, but I appreciate your guys' patience and be happy to answer any questions offline. Appreciate it. Thank you.